So see, that's, I think, some of the fallacies and, that are out there, some of the myths, some of the, hyperbole that's out there. Joe, I'm, in trouble. What should I do? Not only, if I'm foreclosing on my home, I got a lot of other debt, right, is the premise. What should I do to protect myself from all these creditors that are after me?
Well, if you're in that situation, obviously, you still have to see what's important. Obviously, your home, where you live, that's going to be your most important debt. I don't like to say, hey, let those things go, but let's be real here. I mean, that's your home. That's where you sleep at night. You certainly need that.
So pay that first. Number one
Absolutely.
rule, if we had rules on the screen, pay your mortgage first, no
Absolutely.
matter what.
The next thing would be to contact your servicer or lender. We've taken a look at things, and we know that about 40% of all foreclosures, they never even talk to their lender.
40%?
About 40%.
They just say, I can't do anything about this?
Or they're afraid.
Right.
Or they get...
Yeah, because once you tell your lender you're in trouble, in my mind, they're going to be more after you.
Or they talk to their lender, but what they do is they end up with the collection department of their lender. And collectors
Right.
often get paid by the money. So they're asking you two questions. They're saying, how much money can you send me and when can you send it? They're not looking at a long-term sustainable method of making yours. That's what HUD certified counselors like both Housing Partnership and Consumer Credit can do for people. And it's your house. You are emotionally involved. There's no way you're not. That a counselor can sit back, go over with you, what is your situation? What can you afford? Is your lender likely to give you something that maybe you can afford? Because it's confusing. So they can sit down and look, what are your priorities? What do you want? What do you need to do to get there? And is it realistic? And for a lot of people, even people who were days away from a foreclosure sale, we've helped them keep their homes.
Really?
Yes.
So there are programs out there. Obviously, the more we get involved in the stimulus monies trickling down, the more programs. But are there also people out there that may take advantage of the situation? Again, we go back to I wasn't educated when I signed the mortgage, so chances are I haven't really taken a lot of financial education.
Right.
And now somebody's sending me letters. Don't worry, we'll take care of it. 0%. Da-da-da-da.
Unfortunately, that's a big problem right now. There's always going to be people that come in to take advantage of those situations. After the hurricanes, we had all those people come in that promised to fix roofs and then
they
split
disappeared.
town. Right. You have a similar situation now. You got people that, hey, we'll get the loan modification done for you, and they'll want money up front. One thing about our agencies is that we don't require any money up front, or really our counseling is free. Right. So yeah, that's certainly a route they can go. I mean, if somebody says they're going to help you and they want money up front, it's just a warning sign.
Yes. Really?
Absolutely.
And now I know great analogy, the hurricanes, is there a place if Joe Schmo comes to my door, I can ask for a certain license or I can run him somehow so I know if it's a bad deal?
I think there's a couple. HUD has certified counseling agencies that we both are. Yeah. There's also a housingcounselingstandards.com website that lists the ethical standards that good counselors abide by. I know that our organizations have both adopted those. If people won't adopt things like you're going to protect people's private information, you're not going to charge people for your services, you really ought to think about whether you're going to be using those services, because good services are available for free. If you have gotten foreclosed on in Palm Beach County, the courts now require there to be a list of the certified counseling agencies on your foreclosure paperwork.
Wow.
So look at the foreclosure paperwork and talk to somebody who can help you.
And even, I know it must be, I can't imagine getting those papers, but there is help there. And I know, Joe, in Martin and St. Lucie, there's even more help.
Yeah, in Martin and St. Lucie County, the 19th Circuit Court had issued an order basically saying that those people that are subject to foreclosure, they're required to go through mediation.
Okay, so if I'm in Martin, I'm on the Treasure Coast, there's a chance that somebody out there could maybe freely, and mediation is free, right? Help me at least find one of these programs that you
Yes.
both know so much about?
And actually, there's a program similar in Palm Beach County, but you have to ask for it.
Okay.
So in Martin County, St.
Right.
Lucie, Okeechobee, and Indian River County,
Right.
you get it automatically.
That's
In
right.
Palm Beach County, you need to ask for it. It does two things. Actually, it takes a little time to schedule mediation,
Yeah,
which
which
may
is
give you
good.
some
Buy
time.
you some time.
Get your act together and figure out what you want to do. You can get the counseling, but also, you know, the business went crazy and a lot of things were done that shouldn't have been, not only on the side. For instance, a lot of lenders do not have the original note, which is a requirement for foreclosure. So
Okay.
learning to ask the right questions. Do you actually have authority to sue me for foreclosure? Because, you know, when these things get sliced and diced as they did in the securities market, not everybody has the right to file a foreclosure action.
So you have to actually hold the note. In other words,
Or at
you
least
know,
be able to
you're
say
with
where it is.
Countrywide. It sells it to this guy. It sells it to this guy. It sells it to this guy. It
Right.
has to be the fourth guy that is actually sending you the foreclosure note, the one that actually holds the papers, not the original.
Or at least show that they have a right to it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And if I'm overwhelmed, what is the process? Calling one of your organizations, give me realistic. Is it going to be a couple weeks before I can get an appointment? Because you guys must be flooded.
We take people who are in foreclosure first, and we're very
Okay,
clear.
that makes sense.
And probably most places do it the same. If you're in foreclosure, we try to see you very quickly. We also try to help you at least file some papers to slow it down. If you are 60 to 90 days late, you're coming pretty close to foreclosure. So those are the people that we would see next. And if you're 0 to 30 days later, you're having trouble, then we'll still see you. We still work with people, but that is our triage system.
Okay, triage, good word. Sadly, that we would use that for homeownership.
And we've ramped up as well with additional counselors.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, if someone wanted a face-to-face meeting, probably take a couple days.
Wow, that's great. Now,
We also ask people, you know, when you're meeting us, get us some information first,
Yeah,
because
that's what I was
having
gonna
us
ask.
sit down and watch you
That's
fill
what
out
I was
forms
gonna
doesn't help
ask.
either one of us. On our website, and I know on your website as well, we ask you for information, and we're asking you for the information that we know that lenders and servicers want to get a sustainable loan modification.
now is that information something you can grab off your mortgage documents, or are you going to have to spend some time going online, maybe asking for some documents from different resources?
It's not so much what you're going online, but a lot of it is your budget. What can you afford? Because, I mean, face it, you've got a loan that you can't afford now.
Yeah.
You don't want to get into another loan that you can't, you know, a modification that you can't afford. And unfortunately, a lot of people have done that as well.
I think they said close to
55%
right.
have redefaulted, and a lot of that
so
is because
those
the ones went up.
modifications from like a year or two ago, let's say, the
They can
people knew they were in
remodify.
trouble. They're already defaulting
Over half
on
of
those.
those, yes.
Over half of
Over
those.
half.
Over half.
Now, if
So
you-
were they just rip-offs?
There's a reason, and there was actually a report that was issued by the Office of Comptroller of Currency and Thrift Supervision this week that said most of the loan modifications that have been made in 2008 actually added to the price that people were paying
Oh,
monthly.
you have got to
It's
be
like, okay,
kidding
well,
me.
they were payment plans.
Yeah, they were
And
paying
okay, you
plans.
can pay a little bit of what you owe extra each month. Well, if you couldn't afford the underlying mortgage, you can't afford to pay more than the underlying
Yeah.
mortgage. The default rate was about 23% for people whose mortgage payments were actually lowered. Yeah, we've got a bad economy. People still run into trouble and lose their homes. But it's cut more in half if you have what we're calling a sustainable modification, one that's less than a third of your income.